Hello, welcome back. We're
Hey,
here with
Hey.
Jay, Juna, and Andreas. We're still hoping that Chris and perhaps Cody from Everbee will come on.
nice.
Maybe they'll join late, but yeah, for now he's stuck with us. Happy New Year to everyone. This is the first stream this year.
That's right.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
2025. Woo-hoo.
We'll just wait for some people to join in the chat. And yeah, let us know where you're watching from.
Yes.
We hope you all had a good Christmas, good New Year's. Hope you had some time off. Unlike Juna, I think Juna, you were working a lot, weren't you, over the holidays?
That's what I do.
Yeah,
I love it. When you love what you do, it's not working, right?
Yeah. Oh, here we go. Surprise guest.
Whoa, here we
Welcome,
go.
Cody.
Hey.
Cody.
Oh,
Hey,
What's up, team?
What's up,
what's
man?
going on?
nice to have you.
I'm great. How y'all doing?
Good.
Good,
Good
good.
timing.
We're just saying, first stream of the year.
Love that.
So wishing everyone a happy new year. A little bit late, but oh yeah, we've got a bunch of topics today. We'll talk about a bit about Amazon tier ups or the lack of them, the January slump, 2025 predictions for POD. We'll do a live Q&A as usual and shop reviews as well. So we'll put throughout this stream, we'll have a link in the chat multiple times where you can submit your stores if you want your Etsy store reviewed, your TeePublic, Shopify, whatever it is. Put your links into the document, which will be in the chat any second, and that'll be coming on later in the stream. But yeah, nice to be back. I'll pop up a few messages here. Got
Nice.
someone from Germany, Morocco, from Jay's hometown.
Wow.
That's
Nice.
cool.
Is that what part of Ontario?
I've got UK, more Germany.
Nice.
Hi, Jacqueline, watching from California. Nice.
California. Nice.
It's early in California. It's like 7 a.m., I think.
TO. Nice.
Oh, I've got a massive variety here. Algeria,
Yeah,
Poland.
that's the beauty of the internet, right? It's pretty special.
TO?
So TO for it's Toronto, Ontario. Yeah.
Nice.
So cool.
Tunisia. That's awesome.
Wow. All over. We need a map that just goes.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
That'd be pretty sweet.
Yeah. Thanks to everyone for joining. We'll start off. Here's the link. It's now there. Click it in the chat if you want to have your store reviewed potentially later on. And then, yeah, we'll start off with the first topic, which is the most important one.
All right.
Rubber ball has grown. He's been adding to it. This is the mascot of these live streams, so we have to show it. Oh my god!
The rubber band ball
Wow,
growth.
look at that.
You're gonna need a wide angle soon, a wide angle camera.
Yeah. Look how big it's bigger than my head.
Wait, let me put you.
See if you can pin them.
There we go.
Yeah.
That's
It
amazing.
grew.
Look at that.
Yeah, I got some from Amazon. I found these rubber bands from Amazon, so added on.
My God.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
That's
Getting
really what
heavier.
you're doing over
Yeah.
Christmas. Just grinding.
Yeah, too bad Chris isn't here. He loves this thing.
Yeah.
Anyway. Okay, and the first serious topic is Amazon tier up. So we've got a bunch of Amazon merch sellers here.
Uh-huh.
I think everyone but Cody, right?
That's correct. I've never sold Amazon merch. Amazon FBA, but not merch.
Yeah, exactly. So I know a lot of people, at least in my community, are frustrated about the lack of tier ups. Have any of you heard about tier ups recently, or any advice for people that are struggling with that?
I don't know.
I haven't heard about tier ups at all, and it seems like it's been months. I'm nowhere near enough listings up to get tiered up anyway, like 1,600 and change out of a possible 8,000. So nowhere near the what I would need. What is that? 50? I don't even know. 7,200 or whatever. But what I can tell people is like, we were kind of chatting about this a little bit beforehand and yesterday and stuff too. But, there's only so much you can control. And if you're in one of those tiers, and people hate when I say this and I ruffle feathers, but if you're in one of those tiers that, higher up and you've got I don't know, you're in 10,000 plus, there's a good chance that you have like half of your listings, like 5,000 listings that are sitting dormant, right? And people are like, well, 75 or 80% of my listings have sold before. I'm like, just because I sold it before does not mean they'll ever sell again. So if it's something that is like, has a shelf life that has potentially expired, or you have a certain birth year that goes with a number, that doesn't make sense anymore, get rid of those. You can open up thousands of slots, but don't hang on to outdated designs potentially, right? So yeah, it's one thing to say, delete anything that hasn't sold, but I would argue that you can delete anything that hasn't sold in the last 18 months. If you're in tier 10,000 plus, you've probably been on merch for years. That would be my take. Start there and like clear out some backlog ultimately of stuff that hasn't sold and make better versions of it. Just because it sold once, that doesn't mean it's going to sell again. So it's like, getting out of our own way and putting our egos aside that way.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big one, I think, for me.
It's good advice.
That's about the only thing you can do, especially on the lower tiers where you're like, you only have so many slots. Like the only thing you can control is getting rid of the things that you don't need and try something else that will sell. But yeah, that's frustrating. The lower tiers would be really frustrating. Like if you're stuck at tier 10 or anything under 200, that'd be really, really tough. So.
I would say if you are in the very low tiers and you don't really have a lot of listings to go through, or you can't upload that much, right? It's just very low uploads per day. Definitely, whilst you're stuck, try other platforms. Like don't limit yourself to Amazon merch. If you can, go elsewhere. Or upload some drafts for when the tier up finally happens. And there is a good sign, at least I've heard from a lot of people, me included, that the daily upload limit has gone up for a bunch of people, which is kind of showing that Amazon is kind of ready for more listings again, or new listings. So hopefully that's a sign that the tier up is coming soon. And yeah, whilst you can't do anything else, focus on what you can control, which, like Jay said, looking through old listings, getting rid of stuff that hasn't sold or which potentially won't sell again, changing prices, changing listing data if you can, or maybe focusing on ads or another platform.
Yeah, I would suggest, like I did the design with Detour last year, and if those three that I did it with, Redbubble, Amazon, and TeePublic, and the reason I did that is because those are free and they don't cost anything to start and all that kind of stuff, and doesn't take much to manage. But TeePublic actually was pretty close to Amazon as far as sales went with my design with Detour sales. So it's pretty competitive. Redbubble didn't do as well in that test, but TeePublic did with the designs that I did anyway. So
I have a question.
If you can't get on Amazon, yeah.
I have a question for you, Amazon merch sellers. What is the potential for Amazon merch for just understand like the opportunity, because I've never even looked into it, not seriously at least. And I'm curious. Sometimes I get that question once in a while, like, should I sell on Amazon merch? And I kind of just say like,
to me, it's the best opportunity there is, honestly, because
really?
I've done my whole Amazon ads funnel in a really passive way, but what that enabled me to do was to focus elsewhere, but still generate about $1,500 to $3,000 without doing anything. Mainly like 1 to 5 minutes of work each day, just to add a listing into one part of the funnel. So that's why it's just insane to me, because it demands basically no upkeep if you don't want to, once you build it up to a certain extent.
And then so you said 1,500 to 3,000 a month, which was beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you for that, like, very objective number.
That's in profit, by the way, and not like the revenue.
It's mostly profit.
That's only profit. That's all
profit. I made over 10 grand in the last 3 months, each month in the last 3 months in Q4. So
okay, and is that like the top? Like, Juno, are you like you're the
I'm
rare
not the
case?
top.
So I know
Philip knows some really top people.
I've done podcasts with people, and I have some people in my server who are like really, really top sellers on Amazon merch. Some people getting like 30, 40,000 profit a month, like crazy numbers. There's one guy who sold, I think, what was it, like 2 million or 3 million in total royalties or something. So there is definitely a high ceiling. It is Amazon after all, right? And the benefit is that you don't have to deal with just customer service or order fulfillment. But yeah, for a lot of people, like a realistic thing that is very achievable, I would say, is definitely getting to like a 10K a month. That's over a few years. That's been done loads and loads of times.
Cool.
There's
That's super helpful. Yeah, thank you for that. I had no idea that was the scale. And the downside with this is you can't. It's not your brand to sell it. Like it's the only downside I have in my head right now. Is like you can't really sell this brand one day. It's okay.
The other downside is you don't have customer information, so you can't go and resell like you would on a Shopify. Like you can't go and email market. And there is ads, Amazon ads, but you don't really target it in the same way. But what's nice about Amazon ads is they're already there on Amazon looking for something to buy, and your ad pops up, right? And so they're already in the mindset of shopping.
And
so
I think
really helps.
that's one big part of the equation, because like I saw some stats. I do think they're true. I'm not entirely sure, but I think Amazon owns like 30% of all e-commerce happens on Amazon, I think. And that just boggles my mind. 30% of all e-commerce on one platform, which means that it like just not selling on Amazon is that you're missing out on 30% of all e-commerce sales. So I really think that be able to use their infrastructure, their whole branding, it makes it a lot easier and a lot more. It's not passive income by any means, but it basically makes it as passive as possible if you're able to be on merch, so to speak.
It's a close second if there was ever a true passive income, I think, for me. Like I don't upload nearly as much as a lot of people, and I mean I have 1,600 listings out of a possible 8,000 in my tier, and these guys like Juna's in tier 200,000. I don't know, you know. So meaning you could have 200,000 listing designs up, which is a unfathomable number to me, right? But like November was still 10.5K in royalties, and December was 18.5, so almost 30,000 in just the last 2 months of the year, right? And that's, I mean, pretty close to as passive as you can get, I think. I will say that you will see it, kind of taper off a little if you don't kind of massage the beast, so to speak, or keep the wheels greased. But uploading 2 designs every other week is enough to kind of give you a little bit of a bump again when you start seeing it go down. So I haven't found any kind of POD related platform to be anywhere nearly as lucrative.
Beautiful. Thanks, y'all.
Kind of nuts.
So one topic that kind of relates to this is the January slump, because we were talking about Q4 numbers, right? And many of us, I'm guessing, whether you're in the chat or on this call, are experiencing that at the moment, and it's very natural. So I just wanted to bring this up because if you're new to POD and this was your first like November, December, this drop can feel quite strong, and like sales are over, they're not going to come back. But for me personally, I'm curious what it's like for you guys as well. For me personally, at the moment, sales are like relatively very low, especially in comparison to December, and that's normal. It's the same for most people in my group.
Mine's not super low, but it's probably half as what it was in December, which is
okay.
Depends,
Not bad.
but not too bad. I'm probably not going to get the 10K in December, but I'll get close. I mean January, but I'll get close, but not. I probably won't break it.
I'm about to hit the same. I'm looking at 3,700 on pace right now for the same as year over year from last year. So not terrible for a January. I thought it started way slower though. It's starting to ramp up again.
Yeah.
And like to me, like I'm doing a lot of experiments both on Etsy and Amazon. And Amazon is like the bonus thing that I've always had on the side, while Etsy's been my main focus. But both on Etsy and Amazon, I'm experimenting a lot with ads. It's mainly on Etsy. I've even turned the ads off just to see how profitable can I be even without doing any ads and without listing in a dead month of January. Hey man,
Chris.
And on Amazon, I'm doing actually a new thing that Philip has talked a lot about. The Tamas method, about ranking listings using really, really super broad keywords. So for me, my profits is a bit low because I'm experimenting a lot.
Hi, Chris. How are you doing? Welcome.
Hello, the gang's all here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome.
What's up today?
It's good to see you guys.
Hey, I was going to say on January, what I'm noticing, which is interesting, is I'm seeing a lot of sales from things that I made 2-3 years ago. So I've seen Amazon kind of kick back up some things that I designed a while ago, which is interesting.
Mm-hmm. Do you have a bunch of like Valentine's Day designs and stuff like that?
No, it's just random. Like, yeah, there were some Valentine's Day stuff, but I'm seeing stuff that are like all kinds across the board. Like, wow, I didn't sell this one for a while. That's cool that it's popping up. So that's nice to see in a January.
Are you experiencing a January slump, Chris, or is that different on Shopify?
Yeah, it goes down, but we were still able to maintain like profitability because it's like the ad costs are so much lower. And I think that's like kind of the main difference for everyone listening. Like just conceptually, like Etsy versus an Amazon, Merch by Amazon and Redbubble versus like a site where you're driving your own traffic. It's like it's just a different game where you're able to control the traffic. It's, not to say that it's easy by any stretch. Like you have to be testing a lot in order to like maintain the low cost per clicks. Like people are seeing like lower conversion rates because you still have that slump because people aren't buying for friends and family and for gifts and stuff anymore. It's mostly just for themselves. So it's less like active buyer behavior, but all the giant advertisers have dropped, not completely dropped off, but it's much less competitive on the ads. So we're down we're always down compared to Q4, like 30 to 40%, but we just like throttle down the ad spend to be able to like maintain the ROAS that we want and then just keep climbing.
So less orders, but also less ad cost.
Yeah, our ad costs, we try to keep it at like around a 3 to like a 3.5 ratio. It's like for every $1 spent, making 3 to 3.5 back. And so like when conversion rate drops slightly, we just bring back the ad spend and it maintains that same ratio.
Mm-hmm.
My Etsy orders for January over last January are up almost 700%. So stoked about that.
Nice.
Cool.
One shop, the other shop is down about 12%. So I'm all in all, the two of my bigger shops anyway.
Love it.
No complaints that way. But otherwise, like, going back to like the whole slump idea, it bothers me when we almost start talking about all these numbers in a way that people feel, because the perception, at least in my community, or that I've seen in various communities that I'm a part of, the POD communities, is that people just feel like there's this, it's just part of the game. It's all this stuff. And it's like, now what do I do? I've only been selling for 90 days and they got the November, December, and now they're, on their whatever 80th, 90th day coming into January, and you're seeing these massive valleys. And it's just like, don't think of it as like a hurdle or, something that is going to be a detrimental kind of element. You treat it like a normal part of your business. Like Q1 will always start with a January. It's always going to be a low month. February, if you're not doing anything Valentine's related, it's also going to be kind of low, but starting to pick up again. These are times where you can reassess, reevaluate, work on your branding, get your plan together for the rest of the year. I think, all the things that you can do as a business person to set yourself up for success for the remaining 9 months of the year after that first quarter. Just want to kind of put that out there because a lot of people are feeling like, that all hope is lost, but this is like an opportune time to set yourself up for some big wins.
Yeah, that's a huge point. And like putting myself back in my shoes when I was like running our brands for like the very first year, and it was my first experience with like the Q1 dip, I was like freaking out. I was like hair on fire. I was like, things were going so well. Like I felt like I was on top of the world, and now like the bottom's falling out. Like, and the natural like fear or like worry is like, is this going to be forever? Like, is this the new norm now? Like, is this, should I not be expecting this to ever return? And I think now, like all of us talking about it, the reason we're able to talk like so casually about like, yeah, there's a Q1 like dip, it's just simply from having gone through it so many times that and it's one of those tough things. Like it's easy to hear, but it's much different to like feel it and like have experienced it for yourself. So it's one of those, for everybody listening, if you're experiencing that, it's one of those things that just gets a lot easier with time.
For sure. I think if you can treat it as part of, your annual business cycle, then it's not this big looming horror story thing. It's just part of the process, right? So you can plan for it, you can anticipate it, you can expect it, and it's just part of the process now. So treat it as the opportunity to get really good sleep, catch up on rest, and all the things that you need to do to recharge, regenerate, branding, all the things that you maybe have put off that you didn't get to in time for Q4. Get on it now so that come next Q4 you're ready.
I remember
there's a
this.
reason that like business valuations are done on the trailing 12 months, not like the trailing quarter.
It's true.
Good point.
I remember some advice that I got years ago when I was starting businesses and stuff was we tend to like ride these waves of like, revenue's going up, we're super, super happy. Revenue starts going down, we're super sad and depressed, and like we're kind of grumpier, or maybe we have more fear, more worry. Very normal to feel this way, by the way. I still feel this way sometimes. Like even if you have experience, like you naturally are on a high when you know that you're winning in life, and revenue equals winning in life to people like us. But I think this advice that I got years ago, I always think about all the time. When you have a down month or a couple down months, just stay in business. That's it. Just like, stay in business. And typically you will always be able to see the next Q4 and the next wave that you're going to catch. Just like you cannot catch a wave if you're not on the ocean, right? Like you have to just stay out there, keep paddling, just stay there, set it up again, position yourself for the wave, and like always do that. You might miss the wave, you might miss things, but the point is just stay in business and you will always have a chance to catch the next wave. I thought that was really awesome advice that I got years ago, and it kind of helps me reset my perspective of, am I still in business right now? I am. Got it. So I still have a chance. Like we're good. I just need to learn more, get better, reset, dial in my OKRs or my annual objectives and stuff like this. That's the way I view it.
Yeah, that's great advice. Don't give up. It's not just because January is slow doesn't mean that got to give up. But
yeah, the only Q1, the only comparison you should be comparing your current January sales or Q1 sales is to your last year's, like year over year, right, or month over month. Don't be comparing it to the last 90 days or the end of last quarter, and don't compare your day 100 to somebody else's, or our day 1,000 or 10,000, right? It's not about what everybody else is doing. Just put your nose down, stay in your lane, isolate the niches you want to work on, and cut out the noise, right?
Good advice.
These are things you can control, right?
Exactly. Focus on what you can control. That's a good one. So next topic before we get into some questions, and thanks to everyone who's been asking stuff. There's a bunch of good questions here, so we'll get to them soon, and then we'll do some shop reviews as well. And there is a couple of sites that look like Shopify to me, so Chris will be excited. But the last topic to talk about is 2025 predictions, and this is very general about like print on demand, maybe where it's going, trends, maybe AI, like anything that comes to mind that might happen this year.
I got some ideas.
Okay, go for it.
I hope that there's new products on Amazon. That'd be great. I'm thinking there's going to be a lot of combinations of different apps. Like we've seen Canva take, acquire Leonardo and acquire Affinity and trying to make that better. And I think the same thing might happen with some other pod sites. Like we may see some changes in TeePublic or some changes in whatever, right? Like all these things. I think the POD advancement with like adding AI to this, or better upscaling with AI, removing the background, all those things that print on demand sellers want, I think that might happen in the future with AI, vectorizing, upscaling, all those things, automation, batching. We're already seeing some of that in some of them, and so I think that's just raising the stakes on different AI opportunities there. So
yeah, I also think with the AI tools, it will get easier and easier, and eventually, maybe even this year, we won't have to do the whole remove background, upscale anymore.
Yeah, it'll just be automatic. It's
more
just
optimized.
part of it.
And like ideograms, added that batch feature. Mystic has got like bulk features.
I love it.
My designs, there's more and more ways to do these things more quickly and save time with it. So
I think
that's
people
on the
will.
AI front.
I agree with you, Juna. I think naturally when things get easier, like more, it lowers the barriers to entry for other people, which is a good thing for the market. It's you know, on a large scale, it's great, but on like the scale for like you and me and as brand owners and creators, it makes it more competitive naturally. And it also, and if the buyers are not increasing as fast as the sellers are increasing, then naturally, like it kind of puts us in a squeeze. So I personally see the need for probably your own brand probably being more and more important as we just continue on this path, just because the barriers to entry are getting so much lower. So I think you eventually need your own brand, and then mixed with this is like you could either be like a creator-led brand, like you could be the face of your brand, or somebody, you know, it's people buy from people they like and trust, and that's always been true, and that will continue to be true. It's not just going to be this faceless brands anymore. Like that's going further and further away. People buy from a face that they can trust and like. So I can see that being continuing to be a trend in 2025. That's what I see.
I like that you said branding, because I think that's going to be the kind of the opposite of AI. Now that AI is so easy or making it easier and people can do those, I think branding and your style of design is the thing that's going to stand out, right? Like I create this, and this is a Detour Design original, and this is what it looks like. You see that already on things like Redbubble and TeePublic, where you look at Illustrata and Dynamite and all these brands that they have a specific style, and people love that because they know that style. That's their brand. That's their drawing. That's their way that they're doing it. And I think that's a way to stand out and with design, and not be AI designed, right? It's my hand drawn design or my specific way that I'm doing it. So I think that's gonna probably be really big in 2025 too.
Yeah, I have two thoughts on this. One, I've a piece of advice on like the branding side from something we were talking about yesterday on one of our group calls. But the first point I want to make is like the really good news is like as AI becomes better and better, like Cody said, that's good for the market and like just at a macro scale, it's a net good thing, like better tools being available. But the good news is that like the demand for print on demand products, like it's trending upward, and it has been trending upward. Like it's the print on demand market. It grows at, depending on the source you're looking at, grows at like a 23% annual growth rate, which compared to other e-commerce sectors, it's like grocery is the second fastest growing, and it's at like 16 or 18%. So 23% is insane. Like to put that into like a multiplier, by 2030, the print on demand market is going to be 4 times the size that it currently is. So, and that's all driven by like consumer demand, and that's people are expressing like more interest in like fast fashion, looking for clothing and apparel is like a form of expression now more than ever. And there's a whole can of worms you get into, like human psychology, why that is. We don't have to talk about like the loneliness epidemic, but the other piece, like on the branding side, this is what we were talking about on a group call yesterday. I think a lot of times, and I did the same thing. When I said I wanted to start a brand, I just overcomplicated it like right out of the gate. Because when we hear the word brand, at least for me, every time I heard brand in my life, it was always synonymous with like Gucci, Louis Vuitton, Nike, Supreme. And I would start building from day one. I would start thinking like, okay, I got to build Louis Vuitton in order to have a brand. And not realizing that like brand, there's so many micro steps to that are huge wins. Like you don't need to be a Louis Vuitton in order to have brand. Like on History Tees, for example, the furthest thing from Louis Vuitton, but we built up a brand. Like to what Gina was saying, we had like a common aesthetic, common theme for our designs. And then if you're on Shopify or like any communications you have with your customers, you just talk in like your brand voice, and like the creator led space, like have one person who's deciding like the voice of your brand. And so then like history and ChatGPT can do this extremely easily. You don't have to be like a, gifted writer or anything. Like just give it like, here's our brand voice. Here's our, like on History Tees, we did like talking like old English style, like that kind of thing, just for fun. People absolutely loved it. And because of that, like we would post or like send an email saying new designs have been added to the site, 50 designs. And if we were just to post those 50 designs without like a common theme or a brand behind it, it would do okay. But then, and it's the same amount of work. But then when we do that same amount of work and we have the brand aspect of people, and again, not Louis Vuitton, just people like the designs, we're consistent, we stand for something, we have consistent messaging. That's all that it is. And when we send an email saying, hey, 50 new designs that align with, our brand, it does exceptionally better than it would if we were just like out of the gate with no brand or messaging around it.
And just to build on top of that, like in my opinion, on Etsy it doesn't really matter, but on Shopify I think it really, really does matter to have a niche. And that the reason for that is I'm reading a book that's about story brands.
Yeah.
And the reason about this kind of stuff, or for this whole thing, is that the clearer message you have, the easier it is to sell something. But on top of that too, Hormozy has a great way of just defining brands, so it's easy to like understand what a brand is. And a brand is just associating something that you don't know with something that you do know. So on Chris's example with History Tees, it's t-shirts with a history theme. So only people that like history themed shirts will go there. But it's really easy to communicate that in like one sentence, which makes it easier to sell. Yeah, that's my belief, at least.
Makes sense.
Yeah, that Keith Cunningham. We did the Business Master with Tony Robbins this past weekend. Wow. Keith was actually one of the speakers, and it was phenomenal. It was one of my favorite sections the whole weekend, because he would take any business, like what they thought their value prop was. Long story short, he just would take what they thought their value prop or the problem was. Most businesses, they just state it as like, we are this, we provide this service. And he had people come on live and like share their value prop. And within a second, it was so impressive. He would flip it on its head and reframe it as the value that what is the end outcome that the customer receives from the brand. And that shift makes it so much more powerful and like,
give us an example.
It like establishes a connection.
Give us an example for history tees, for example.
Yeah. So for History Tees, and our mission was around like that we believe like celebrating history and like making history education fun and available to everybody, and like people that believe in like the importance of learning the lessons of history, and so that history doesn't repeat itself. That whole thing. We started off just chucking up history related t-shirts, and we're like, we'll see if people like this. But then as we realized like how much it resonated with people, we started really going deep into like, why is it resonating with them? What are the new collections that would resonate with them? Like, what are the themes? So in the beginning, we had zero element of consistency or brand. But then by the end, it was like people come to us because of the way that it makes them feel. It makes them feel like they're expressing like their interest and like their introvertedness for this brand in particular. And it felt like a really good connection for them. So that was like the outcome that they got to. I didn't word it anywhere near as succinctly as Keith did, but
what's the book?
It's called Building a Story Brand by Keith Cunningham.
He just released a new one this month that I'm currently reading.
Oh, and he has a software. It's called storybrand.ai, and basically just answer like survey questions about your brand. And then it spits out like your core value prop, your mission statement, your ad copy, like sales letters, all kinds of stuff.
Oh, that's cool.
I think that's a big part of the process that people overlook too, right? Is like the value proposition, but also your core values, right? Your brand's core values and who it is you're going to want to speak to. And then the one thing you mentioned first, Chris, was and then staying consistent with that voice, right? So many people just kind of lose that consistency, or they'll just employ AI now to spit out some kind of contextual email that kind of makes sense, but the unique spin that you're putting on it is with the old English vocabulary ultimately, right? And with the humor tied to it, and that causes people to look forward to those emails and not just load them as more spam or anything like that, right? that's like such a powerful component. I think is like, you know, staying consistent with your brand's voice once you've established it, but figuring that out, I think, is paramount if you're ever going to build anything that you want repeat customers for.
Wait, and I was gonna say it's Donald Miller. Keith Cunningham is the other presenter. He has another really good book called The Road Less Stupid. He's like completely, that's not brand related at all. That's like finances and like operations, but also really good.
Right, let's get into some questions then. I've saved a bunch from earlier, and then we'll do the shop reviews. It's the first one, which I thought was quite fun. Saying, is it just me or are Chris and Cody giving twin vibes?
We do both live in Austin.
Yeah.
Whoa. There you go.
Yeah. Is it a coincidence? Who knows?
What's up, May? How come you're not on here? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You should be here. Could be asking it live. Then we've got Malene asking questions for you all. Do you use VAs to help you upload your designs on merch? What do you use to automate your process? June is shaking his head.
I don't use. I probably should because I upload so many, but I upload everything by myself, one by one. I do use automation or the bulk upload, not bulk upload, bulk create and ideogram, but that's about as much as automation as I'm doing it. Automating designs, but not automating uploads, which I probably should, but I don't.
I'm guessing you're doing it manually as well, Jay, if you like very low amount of designs, right?
Yeah, all manual for me. It's always been manual. What I'm thinking of doing is outsourcing the mock-up building and parts of the process that I can do without giving any from the Etsy side of things. But for Amazon merch, it's all manual, all hands on. Yeah. Nobody's gonna keyword something better, and I'm not going to be making any more money if I pay for a solution that can automate any part of the process. It just doesn't financially make sense either, at least for me.
Yeah, I do also upload everything manually, at least for the time being. I'm dabbling into AI, but mainly into Chris's Mystic software, just to dabble in to automate, just to find a way to make elements easier. So I'm dabbling a lot with that, but no upload automation as of yet, at least.
I do want to say one thing though. I am uploading all at once, well, multiples at once. So I'm not just designing, design, upload. I design a whole bunch at one time and then upload 50 to 100 at once, and then go back to designing. Kind of things.
Yeah, I batch it all too that way. It's just easier to get in that design headspace and then the keywording or SEO headspace and then the clicking submit.
Yeah, same for me too.
I use Flying Upload to do my merch uploads. That helps automate it a lot. It's more useful for higher tiers, I would say. If you're in one of the lower tiers, there's not really much of a point of getting it. But if you're trying to fill out your slots, or if you know how to design stuff quickly, and you want to save some of the tedious work of just uploading with the same settings all the time, then Flying Upload's been the best tool for me there. What about Shopify? What do you do, Chris? Do you have VAs to help with that?
Yeah, so we use we have design tools, so like Mystic or any tool people are using, and then exporting, and then we have VAs that do pretty much the rest of the process. And I think that's where a lot of tools are heading. So you won't even need that step eventually. But we've been using working with VAs for years to speed up that because it's just and to Jay's point, we don't have to worry about SEO or anything like that. It's very much just here's the design, just upload it, and here's the SOP to make sure it's centered on the shirt the right way, and we're using the right mock-ups and that sort of thing. So it's much more cookie cutter. But that, and then customer service we use VAs for pretty much the most time consuming and repetitive tasks. As soon as we can, as soon as the business is cash flowing enough to hire a VA for depending on where you're sourcing from, it's anywhere from $700, $1,500 a month full time, $1,500 on the high side, because the cost of living is just so much cheaper in a lot of countries around the world. So
yeah,
all right.
I would say the problem that I have right now, and I don't know if it's a problem, but in the beginning it was easy, right? Because when you tier up from tier 10 to 20 and all of that, I can, there's only so much that I can upload by myself. So I think the challenge is to find a way to scale up faster. And if you're just doing it by yourself, there's gonna be a limit to how much you can upload and scale it. So using automation or having VAs or something like that is probably the next step once you reach that point, so that you don't just flatline. You have to do something else to upscale or scale it up, right?
Sorry, Carla, for missing that. But we had it, for those who didn't know, we had we were graced with Philip's and Juna's presence in my paid membership group yesterday. So just a shout out to those guys. You know, just everybody helping everybody in the community is pretty awesome. So Carla, you're gonna love that replay.
Yeah, that was really fun yesterday. Next question is about what's the best app or site to upscale AI images? So I've tested a bunch and compared a few. It depends if you want something free or if you have money to invest into upscaling. The best free one, in my opinion, is DGB, dgb.lol. It takes some time to do the upscaling, but you can do it in bulk. And if you use the AI, it's like a retouch one, I think it's called. It gets really good results compared to some of the other free ones that might be quicker. But this one tends to get the best results, and you can do up to like 8x upscales, really high. You can do it in bulk.
That's what I'm using.
Yeah, June is using that one as well. And the best paid one that I found is Topaz Gigapixel, which you can also use in bulk. I think it's like a one-off fee. You don't need to pay for a subscription. And they have a lot of really good models to choose from based on what your image looks like. And yeah, they get really good results as well. Anyone else got any?
When I do any AI stuff, I only use Mystic, because Mystic has the upscaler already built in within it. So I do everything AI related when it comes to design, just all within Mystic. Makes it easy.
How's the background removing?
I need to clip
better,
that.
Chris?
I need to clip that and put that in an ad. What was that, Philip?
How's the background remover?
It's been in a lot better. And
Nice.
my answer to your question about like what upscaler one, yeah, Mystic is like it has all of it in there. But before it had that, I just went to Philip's channel. I was like, I know that whatever the latest and greatest, he's probably tested it, and it's definitely on there. Or Juna.
I follow Philip too, so if you're following me, you're following Philip pretty much.
Oh, you're just copying me.
Yeah, pretty much.
Go back and look at the videos. It's like Philip did this, Juna did this, Philip did this.
Who's first?
And I was
Review this.
laughing about that yesterday too, because I think Philip commented on one of Juna's, and he was like, "You beat me to this one."
Yeah. One time Juna was first. Then we've got Catherine Schlosser asking, why do I hear about so many people getting denied on merch?
I thought
always
That's
been the
because
case.
everybody is getting denied, or not everybody, but most people are.
It seems to be more,
there's a couple
right?
of. Pardon?
It seems to be more than usual, right?
Well, I think more and more people are trying to get on, and there's still probably a limit on how many people can get on Amazon. I don't know what the limit is, but my guess is they have a cap, and thousands and thousands. We keep talking about it, and so many people try and get on. And of course, if you have more people trying, and there's still only the same amount of people that can get on, then we're going to have a lot more rejections, right?
There were, yeah, I agree with that. It's percentages, I think, for the most part. The other thing is that I just think that they're limiting. I don't know. It's all speculative, of course, because they don't really tell us. But I know they did let in 2 people that are in my membership over the last 60 days. So from the start of December to now, 2 people got in. So they aren't, the doors aren't proverbially shut necessarily. Mm-hmm. But the other thing is I think they're potentially looking for, again, only speculative, but maybe some kind of sales history, some proof that you can, action or sell things elsewhere. Maybe they're prioritizing that a little more. I don't know. It just seems like it would go part and parcel with throttling of all the the uploads because everyone was scaled back. And yes, it comes into Q4, but the uploading doesn't impact the printing, right? So there's no reason for that I can see that they would limit the all the uploads or reduce the uploads for your tier in Q4, other than server overload, which could also potentially be a thing. But I don't think it's directly related to the amount of orders going through or anything like that. But yeah, I would agree with Juna for the most part. I think it's just a numbers game, right? Like it's percentage wise, it's probably more people applying, so more people are getting denied.
One thing I hope is not true, and I think there's some people applying and getting on and then turning around and selling those accounts. And I hope that that number isn't big and that's not affecting things, because I have heard that.
Yeah, that's what I've thought about. I don't know if you guys remember, but a couple of years ago, like when the PlayStation 5 came out and it was insanely popular, people were literally setting up bot accounts. So as soon as they dropped on like Walmart, they would buy up all of them and then they'd just turn around and resell them. I don't know enough about merch by Amazon, but I actually had a similar theory to you, Jay. Like maybe it's sales volume based. And so I filled out what I thought was a really good, like well-worded application for history teas. At that point, we had already done like sold tens of thousands of units, like had good history, no pun intended. And we got denied. And I after that, I pretty much was like, I'm just going to go back to what I'm doing.
Yeah,
I would implore you to continue to apply, though.
Yeah.
I sold the brand.
I was just going to say, continue to apply. You never know. There's people who have gotten in on their 17th attempt.
Yeah. It's tough one.
Next up, we've had someone say there's a big issue with Creative Fabrica. I read about people getting sued for IP infringement, and Andreas, I think, has some knowledge of that or some extra info.
Yeah, I just read that we have lots of people asking about this. I think at least 3 people have asked this question, and I saw the Starla video. I don't know the details about it. I don't know all the nuances, so you have to take this with a grain of salt. But usually, like, just to preface, I'm a 7-figure seller, if anyone doesn't know, and I've done that within 3 years. And just last year, I did about 400K in revenue. So it's not like 10 years ago that I did my numbers. So just with that said, I've used Creative Fabrica mainly as the go-to place where I get all my elements and all my graphics. However, a big caveat to that, Etsy, in their terms of service, I read this thoroughly in the beginning when I started Etsy, and in their TOS, you need to actually have made the designs yourself. Or you have to disclose that it's someone basically in your shop, but nowadays you have to make them somewhat yourself if you're designed by a seller and you have that thing in your shop. So when it comes to Creative Fabrica, you can just take something from there and put it up on Etsy. That's not allowed. Plus, there's another thing that's really important to know there too, and that's that people can just take artwork, buy it from somewhere else. Like this happens a ton. So they can buy something off of Etsy and put it on Creative Fabrica for sale, like they have made it there, which means that you don't have the rights to sell it because they took the design from someone from Etsy. So just taking a blatant design from Creative Fabrica, or Etsy for that matter, and just putting it up on a shirt and thinking that it will sell is not a shortcut that you should ever take. This is also why shortcuts doesn't ever work. So how I have always gone about it to keep this just as constructive as possible is that I take something and then I take something and then I combine it with another element so that you can even recognize the first element, so to speak. So let's say that you have a whole design, a whole like, let's say that it's a big city or something like that. And let's say that you do these designs with like skylines. So it says like maybe Los Angeles and then like skyline above. That's a really common design. If you take the skyline from Creative Fabrica and you put like Los Angeles and then California underneath Los Angeles, then you have made a complete design. But you haven't just taken the skyline from Creative Fabrica and uploaded it straight to Amazon or Etsy. So that's the thing that we always have to do. We can take elements, but then we got to take those elements and pair it with other elements to create something new. That's really important. And I think that's the thing that the person didn't do. But again, I'm not sure. I don't know the nuances, but I haven't ever received, knock on wood, I haven't ever received a copyright infringement on Etsy or on Amazon for that matter either.
Yeah, what Andreas is saying is good practice all around. Like if you're using templates from Kiddo or Canva or wherever, I would say change it so that somebody else doesn't have the exact same thing that you would have.
Yeah, this issue's, with the Creative Fabrica one specifically, it's like it was people selling other people's stolen designs too, right? So that's kind of different. I found my stuff on there, and I do not sell my designs, and I found some of my stuff on there. So it is what it is. Every platform that sells graphics, and you guys need to read all the TOS and all the fine print on all of these, graphic selling shops that you're buying from. Any pre-made elements, even of designs. Most of them are going to have a clause in there that they are not liable, and that you are assuming the risk of buying something from somebody who potentially, while they do their best to vet their sellers, there's always some that slip through the cracks, right? So you have to make sure that you are, read that fine print and know that that platform that you're buying that graphic from isn't going to, they're absolving themselves. They don't want to be liable. Same way, Amazon and Etsy will just remove your design and then let you fight that on your own for a copyright infringement or anything like that. They don't want to be involved at all. That's like, they want to stay out of the middle there. So I would implore anybody, if you're buying graphics, yes, you can on Amazon merch, just buy something and upload it. But also a lot of the times on those graphic selling platforms, there's sometimes often stipulations where you have to at least edit or use part of the graphics in a different way. You can't, like the Creative Fabricas of the world, for example, will say that you cannot just download and upload their designs as is anyway. So Google it, reverse, image search, find out if, just make sure that what you're buying is, legally available for sale, right? It's a lot harder to just, and this goes back to, like using AI and stuff, but at the same time, like learning how to design yourself. So if you can incorporate an element that you bought and change some of the wording and do your own thing that way, like I implore everybody to learn how to design if you're going to be selling in print on demand. But if you're not, like you really have to do your homework on what you're buying and where it came from, because there are a ton of sellers selling other people's stolen stuff. And it's a sore spot for me because it's like playing whack-a-mole, right?
Yeah, just quickly, Cody's got to jump off, so we'll just
appreciate you guys.
Thanks a lot for coming on.
Thanks for hanging out. Let me hang out. Good luck, everybody.
Yeah.
Talk to you all soon.
Yeah, I've got another couple minutes too. See you, Cody.
You've got to go as well. Right, since Chris has got to go soon as well, have you got a call like literally in a few minutes or?
Yeah, it's at 11. I told him I'd be a couple minutes. We can do a Shopify site.
A quick one, yeah. Let's. I've got a few here. Right, let's do this. We'll get back to some questions after.
Hey, Chris, you missed the rubber band ball. You have to watch in the beginning of this.
Yeah, it's huge, man.
You want me to show it one more time?
Yeah.
Okay, after. I'll show it in my thing.
Wait. Just for Chris.
Just for Chris.
Wow, it's orange.
Yeah, I changed the color.
That's exciting. I need to see like quarterly updates on that. That tells us how.
Oh, this is a nice shot. I like it already. Cute.
Yeah, it's looking good. I'm not 100% sure if it's actually Shopify, but it looks like.
I like it.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, so what I would do is, we got plushie stuff too.
Plushies too. Where are they making those?
Are you able to right click, Philip, and then is this Chrome? Right click, then inspect and look at it on mobile.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Yeah, beautiful. All right, so this is how I always look at the stores. And then if we can go to a collection page.
T-shirts.
Shop stop. What's that?
Oh, so cool. I like the navigation. It's nice.
Yeah,
One thing though that just popped into my head is that Etsy has a ton of regulations about kid stuff, and I think Chris has mentioned sometime that there's a lot of regulations as well when it comes to kid stuff. So what's your take on this, Chris, when it comes to like focusing a bit at least on kids as a target avatar?
I don't know what I mentioned. There's regulation. One of my first products I ever tried to sell was like a kid's toy. It was like glow in the dark, like magnetic blocks for them, like kind of Lego style thing, that's where it was like a whole can of worms. But when it comes to apparel, I'm not really aware of like too many regulations. We just don't sell the kids stuff. We just do straight to just adults. But yeah, overall on the site, it looks really good. Back on I really like the mock-ups. And one thing, so first of all, the reason we're looking at mobile is that's where 80% of the traffic is going to go. So anybody who's on Shopify can always start with mobile first. And then, yeah, this looks really good.
This looks like someone's watched your course. Like
Yeah.
The layout you suggest.
And I wonder where they get the plushies. Is
somebody
that
go through the course? One thing I would definitely get rid of is that teaser in the bottom left, the get 15% off. I think that looks like Klaviyo, or it might be, that. It's good having exit intent email pop-ups, but when somebody's scrolling down a page, their eye is at the bottom of the page. That's where they're scanning to see what's coming up next.
And
so we don't want anything that's like blocking their view.
Yeah.
And then the currency converter in the top right, it's good to have that, but we don't want that to be scrolling along with us on the page. So, and then on so like little things here, like the colors. Have the colors take up less space than they are right now. See how it's taking
drop down maybe?
You could try a drop down, or you can do like color swatches where it's like just the color in like little circles. But bottom line, we want the color and the sizes each to just be taking up one line. So see how like 4XL right now is taking up a whole extra space. We want to reclaim that real estate so that when somebody lands on that page, the add to cart button is as close to the top of the fold as possible.
Nice.
Also on the add to cart button, we want it to be color isolated. So notice how like the header bar was also orange. We want the any of our CTA buttons should be a completely different color. Green and red are best practices, and just make sure that it's a consistent color all the way throughout the funnel. So add to cart, go to checkout, and like the purchase button should all be identical, and that should be the only time that color appears anywhere on the site. So it really stands out.
So since this is green, you probably want to change that to a different color. And then
and I would also, it's good having that announcement bar at the top. It's good for using that real estate for like basically things that'll boost AOV like they have, but we don't want it to be that wordy. One that we like is just the free shipping threshold, like $75 plus free shipping with like what's it called? Like the truck emoji. You don't have to have an emoji. I just like including them, but short and simple. Then make sure it's a different color than the CTA. Something you can experiment with is the thumbnails that you have, like the sizing chart one. We just use an app for that to reclaim like additional real estate so that when somebody lands on the page, it's just main product image, immediately goes to the title, then the price, and then it's short and sweet, colors, sizes, and then the CTA button that really stands out.
Love it. Keep it streamlined as possible and easy to add to cart.
Love it.
I just wet my plants. One of the most important things though is the quality of the designs, obviously, and the quality of the mock-up. And I think that these are really good.
And we talked about this. I've seen that trend with, if you look at some of the other designs or the vintage illustration trend, those are really hot right now. And this store has some of those. Yeah, look at that. That's really cool. Very vintage. Love it.
That's right.
Yeah.
One of my favorite trends for 25, I think.
Yeah, those right there too. Very, very on trend. Yeah.
All right. If you've got another 5 minutes, we can do another one, or if not, it's fine. You can jump off, Chris.
Yeah, let's do one more.
Okay.
That was good, though.
It's gonna be hard to match this one. And let me know where you get these plushies. I'm curious about like if that's a print on demand thing or not, because we looked at t-shirts, but there's other things on this shop that I wonder where they're getting it from.
On the homepage, let's see it. This stuff.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's
right.
All right. Graphic apparel. Oh, good call. Yeah.
Nice. Is this a collection page or is this the homepage?
This is the homepage. So we'll just go.
Homepage. They got your free shipping up there at the top, like you said.
Nice.
Yeah. There we go. This is the same extension. I'll plug in.
Yeah, I wonder if that's like your browser, Philip, or if I've never seen that before.
Maybe.
Oh, yeah, it could be your browser.
Okay, so starting off at the very top.
Oh.
Yeah. No, thanks. I'm good. Yeah. So starting off at the top, this is a really common one. We want to shrink down the size of the logo. So Shopify is not smart enough that it won't cut off padding. So like you have a little bit of extra padding above and below your logo. So you want to shrink that down and then just shrink the overall size so that the header there takes up a lot less space. And it's kind of weird how they do it. It's literally just dependent on the size of your logo, but that's how you fix that. Then the collection title, we want it to be stating something that reinforces like the brand or the niche, which will should be in line with the ad copy or whatever somebody clicked on in order to get to your site. So instead of just saying shop now, like restate, whatever the niche is, like racing, racing apparel, that kind of thing. And then scrolling down a little bit further. Yeah. So the product titles, this is a common one. We want the titles to be like 2 to 3 words max plus the word t-shirt. So we don't need to restate. And this is where it's different than like what Jay was saying with SEO on Etsy and that sort of thing. We don't have to worry about that. We just want it to be short and sweet, and we're optimizing for conversion rate. So people want less words. So the shirts that are like a full quote, just pull out like 2 to 3 words from that and tag on the word t-shirt. And then get rid of the. Go ahead, Jay.
I was just gonna say, on that note, are you adding any SEO in your metadata in Shopify, or are you just using that when you're targeting with your ads?
Yeah, we don't use any SEO metadata, which it depends on like what your traffic strategy is. Like if you're going for organic and like people finding you on Google, then yeah, you would definitely want to do that. But for anybody who's just driving, we have looked at a lot of t-shirt stores. If you're just driving traffic with like paid ads, then it doesn't matter. We just want to be optimizing and keeping in mind, back to the brand thing, we don't want to be building like a Louis Vuitton or like thinking like that. We want to be we want to go one step at a time. So put yourself in the mind of somebody who's scrolling through Facebook, looking at cat videos and family photos, and then they see a picture of your product. What does that experience look like in order to get that person to convert? It does not look like telling them how amazing and awesome our brand is and like all of these fluffy details. We can get to that in like email follow-up, but for the experience on the site, we just want it to be right down to brass tacks. This is perfect. What I was talking about.
Oh, the colors. Yeah.
Yep. And then, so all of this, I would take all of this and put it definitely below. Yeah. I would nest all of that text in, like an accordion here.
Okay.
Yeah. So move this right here, basically.
Yep. And then take the sizing guide. So the order that we want it to be in is like, it should be your title, then your price, reviews in there if you have any, title, price, and then the sizing guide. Like they have the little, right there. We want that to be, that should be up there as well. And then it goes to your colors and sizes, and then your CTA button, and then your trust seals, and then your accordions with like product details.
Is this all in your like 31-hour training thing that you just did?
Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
I think Chris probably talks about this stuff in his sleep. Yeah. We'll have to ask him maybe.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. I dream about Shopify t-shirt sales. My life. And then if we scroll down like below, so I would get rid of that e-gift card because that's that button. See how similar that looks to the.
It looks like what you're talking about.
We don't want to distract people. And conversion rate optimization is not about like thinking about things like, obviously, if we take the time to read that, we're like, okay, that's not the button I want to click. We don't want our user to have to be thinking like that. We want them to just be able to go naturally. It should just flow for them. And that comes down to tweaking the things that they're going to be like subconsciously evaluating, which is things like how obvious is the button, and removing things like the save 15% off. Then what we like to have is 2 different sections of recommended products. So like customers also bought, that's good. And then I would add one more below this, like bestseller, collection, that sort of thing, because that gives Shopify 2 different categories or collections that it's able to optimize. So it's learning as you're sending traffic that people who clicked on this product were more likely to add these products to cart. And when you give it 2 layers of those, it gives it 2 different opportunities to be optimizing. And then if we click the CTA, just real quick, we can see what the checkout looks like. The add to cart button. Nice. Okay, so we were using shipping protection. We took that off and our conversion rate went up. Center your logo on the checkout page and shrink it down a little bit. And then let's scroll down. What color do we have? Nice. Somebody went through. This is one of the sneakiest details. It seems so simple and like an inconsequential thing, but the checkout is optimized separately because like it's in a separate spot in Shopify. Like you can optimize collection page, homepage, product page, and that's all together, but you have to click to a separate area in order to optimize checkout. So I see a lot of people have a different color CTA here. So this, whoever's store this is, they got it right.
One thing though that I just reflected on, like I don't know Shopify print on demand that well, but I just found that maybe it's just me, but wasn't it really kind of hard to just see the design on the mockups? It felt kind of tiny and like just hard to like understand from the get what the design is.
Yeah,
because that's
I
a
agree. It's
key.
a design thing, though, right? More than
Not much contrast there.
I think it's a mock-up thing and a design thing because on Etsy that's key. You have to like be able to stand out in search between like 40 other listings. What it is.
Yeah, the best practice is just as long as the mock-up, like the T-shirt, is touching the edges of like the mock-up square, then you're in a good spot. Where I see it really hurt conversion rate is when it's like when there's padding around the edges and the shirt is like smaller in the middle. But it does come down to like just the quality of designs in general. So I would, for some of these, I would like, it's a lot of text based. They did do some variety, like there's some icons or like, and then some typography. I would just do a much wider variety. So go back and do even more research, and then also vary. So we don't want to have just a black T-shirt being the only color shown. That's definitely going to hurt conversion rate. So we want to, and especially in the beginning, you're not going to know like what your best selling colors are because you don't have any sales. So just go through and vary it based on what you think looks best. So you want
is it zoomed in enough, or would you zoom in more, or is that okay? Right, how it is?
Yeah, that's zoomed in enough.
I think these are mostly hard to read because of the font choices and the sizing of text. Because if you have very, very thin condensed fonts and the words are small, that makes them super hard to read.
Yeah, and so some of them use college fonts, and those were a lot clearer. So it's probably that.
Oh, I'm scrolling.
Yeah, a little less wordy, more bold, and visible at a glance too, right? I think will make a big difference.
Yeah,
they're usually squeezed into like the top part of the design. If you can somehow fill out more of the print area and have some of the words bigger, that will help with like legibility.
And also for the mock-up, thinking we want to optimize first for what gets cheap clicks and then worry about like how it looks on the site. So for example, mock-ups that perform well are ones that are high contrast compared to the rest of the Facebook feed. So Facebook primary colors are white and blue. So we want our mock-up to be as contrasting from that as possible. So the two different layers of contrast, we want from the Facebook feed to the mock-up, we want it to be contrasting. And then next, we want the mock-up background to the T-shirt to also be highly contrasting. So as people are scrolling, mock-up grabs their attention, then their eyes go from the mock-up immediately to the shirt, and then we should have a design that really pops. So that the natural flow is they go from, they're looking at the feed, then they look at the mock-up, then they look at the shirt, then they look at the design.
Nice.
Versus if we don't have a high contrast background, then they don't even have a chance to get into that flow, and then you just get people scrolling right past, low click-through rate, high cost per clicks, expensive traffic, and that's Shopify. I do like the niche though. I would just go back and do more research, run a mock-up test, come up with 5 to 10 completely different backgrounds, run those in a manual campaign in Facebook at a low budget, and see which one out of those gets the cheapest cost per click, and then update that one across all your products on your site. And then it was a good number of designs. I would just make sure that there's more variety in the styles that are being used. So you're casting a broad net. But hopefully that helps. And somebody asked last question, how many designs are good for a Shopify store? We recommend starting with 100. And then by the time we see most people get to profitability, they end up around like 175-ish, 200. But that's a very broad range, but it's a good benchmark to go by.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, Chris, for that. And thanks for putting another 30-hour course out there.
Yeah.
On top of your 20-hour course.
Yeah. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. It's got like 6 hours of like mindset stuff of just me talking monotone. So if anybody can push through that, then I think you're set up for success.
Nothing like a mindset talk, monotonous.
Yeah. Beautiful. That's what everybody loves. They're like, I just came to learn how to sell T-shirts. Why are you talking about cleaning my desk? All right. Well, thanks for having me, Philip. Good seeing you guys. I'll
Thanks
talk to you
for
later.
coming on.
See you, man.
See you later.
See you, man.
And that course, by the way, is on YouTube on his channel
for free. It's
For free.
crazy.
which is amazing. It's a lot of content to watch, but there's a lot of value in there. And yeah, that was a couple of Shopify sites. Whilst we're doing it, might as well look at some of the Etsy ones that are submitted, and then we'll answer some final questions. So thanks to everyone who's been submitting their stores. There's a bunch of options this time. Don't know if we'll get through all of them. We'll try. Right, which one do I share?
Those were a great first two examples, though, because I think like there were elements that he said they hit the nail on the head for both. So I think it's if you can kind of combine those and keep the contrast up, it's great. Good informative point. For me, anyway.
So here's our first Etsy shop that I submitted, the Timeless Tomorrow. Interesting banner. So we've got custom signs. Right?
Okay. That's a cool niche.
Wow. Like iron metal signs. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen a few Shopify stores of this, but not Etsy.
Yeah. This is not print on demand. I would you're probably making these yourself, right?
No, you can there's print on demand options for this for sure.
Really? Whoa. Oh, yeah. That's crazy.
Damn.
Yeah.
It's a steel metal art, it's called. Very interesting, something I've never really looked into.
Yeah, same here. Never even thought of even.
Definitely a higher price point. Now, I think this is a fairly new store because there's not many listings. This is the announcement, and there's, I think, no sales yet. So it'd be interesting if we can help them.
I would work on some contrast stuff like that. John's garage is kind of hard to read, right? Because black on brown, whatever.
I was gonna suggest the same idea. Like, get rid of the drop shadows behind them. I know you're trying to make it look more realistic, but a lot of them, like at the top, that top row there, we went back up. The gray one, you can see there's a shadow there. Yes, and then the one to the left, Dad established 1982. The drop shadow, in effect, is illustrating that it's on the wall, but these would probably sit a little more flat against the wall as well, so you wouldn't have that shadow underneath necessarily. Nothing wrong with trying to make it stand out, but at the same time, there's no need to have the drop shadow. I think in this case, it's clearly on a wall or something to that effect, but it's just kind of dulling or muddying the contrast there. It makes it a little harder to read, especially with the font choices, right?
Yeah, I agree. Like, I think one of the most important things when it comes to selling on Etsy is that it's got to be super clear. The clearer it is, the better it is for someone to actually click. The higher likelihood you have for winning the battle in search for someone to actually click the item in search. So I would definitely lose the drop shadows. But even, like, I think the best markup you have is the one where it just says the Millers, because you can just at a glance just see what it is. The only problem with it is the drop shadows, and it's that the background kind of melts into the sign, so it's just hard to see everything super clear.
General tip on drop shadows, like any kind of design that you do, don't add one to black. Like, it never looks good. Like in this design where we've got a white sign in the drop shadow, that actually makes it easier to process. And most times you still don't really need it, but it's a lot better looking than with the black subject. Someone also pointed out that there's a spelling mistake here in the header, so it says tomorrow instead of tomorrow. In the logo in the header, so that's a quick tip there, something to fix.
If one other thing too is that when it comes to videos, I really believe in Hormozy's way of thinking about it, and it's that it should enhance the perceived value of achievement. So it should basically be easier for someone to see how it will look in their own home. And how you can do that is if you have a video of someone just taking a sign, taking it in their hand, and putting it up on the wall. Because if you can see it's in someone's hands, you get a better grasp on how big it is and how it would even fit on a wall. Because at the moment, the videos just looks like pictures and it doesn't really do much else apart from the images, from what I can see. It's like more images in like kind of like slideshow. But if you have a video of how someone puts it up like on a wall, then it makes it a bit better to understand how it actually is in front of you, so to speak.
Yeah, I would agree with that 1,000%. Right, then you get kind of a scale for how big the sign is potentially, depending on the size. It's not ultimately just a slideshow of the same existing photos is just redundant, and it's just one extra step. If somebody wanted to click on that or hover and look, now they're cycling through a bunch of photos, right? The way they show up in the search results that maybe they didn't care to. Always try to add value, just to echo Andreas's sentiment.
Are those colors and sizes not working for you when you click the drop down?
I can see them. They're not showing up on
I
the
can't see
recording for some reason, but
Okay.
it goes
One
up to
other big
36-inch.
One other big thing when it comes to like the stage you're at now, like it's great that you have the shop and you have gotten started. That's the most important part, because a lot of people just keep like stay in the planning phase. So you've actually like gone through with it, which is awesome. Now, one big thing when you have no reviews and no sales is that there's a lot of risk from a customer standpoint to buy something from a shop that has no reviews and no sales, because they have no idea if they're actually going to get what they pay for, because there's been no other customers to like read reviews from. And a good way to mitigate that is to use a guarantee. So I would highly, highly, highly recommend that you use a guarantee. And I have a video that's been recorded that I'm going to release, where I literally show you, like within the same month, from just implementing one image, a guarantee, it doubled my conversion rate from like 1 to 5 to 2% to about 3 to between 3 to 4%. So 1 to 5 to 2 was what I had before the guarantee, and then after the guarantee was implemented, within the same month, literally, it went up to 3 to 4%. So, and from where you're at now, it would basically mean that it would be a lot easier to just get sales in the beginning, because you incur the risk instead of the customer. And the guarantee, just to exactly say what it is, it can say something like, if anything happens for any reason, you can contact us within like 7 to 14 days and get either a refund or replacement if you're unhappy with the order for any reason. Something like that.
I would also add to that be very intentional with your mock-ups. Like, you have Dad's Garage established 2023, but it's in what looks to be an office space. Not even in the man cave, so to speak. And there you go. Carlos said the same thing. Bobby's whatever that
the gym one was showing in
a washroom
of the house. Yeah.
These are these are things that are going to tell your customer in whatever, that you don't care enough to make sure that this stuff matters. If it doesn't matter enough to you as the shop owner or proprietor, then it kind of alludes to the fact where, how Andreas said, you got to build trust. And if they can't trust that you care enough to display your stuff properly, then how would they know that they're going to buy with confidence, right? Lots of little details like that make a big difference when you stack up and compound.
Yeah, for sure. And one other thing too, if you have like a lot of different metal signs, I don't know how popular the metal sign product niche itself is on Etsy, but if you can find like 10 bestsellers and they all have a mock-up, and you can find that specific mock-up on Etsy, I would just rely on and just use that mock-up, because this is one of the main variables to actually like get clicks and get sales on Etsy. So it's either equal or even more important, like the presentation of the actual item that you're selling. Because if someone clicks into it and it looks off, it doesn't place a lot of trust in a customer, then it can be really hard to actually like get the sale. So just to mitigate the risk when it comes to mockups, the easiest way is just to see if there's, at least this is the way that I've done it, that's worked the best for me. It's just to find, if you search a big broad term like custom signs and you find like 5 to like 10 bestsellers and they all have the same mockup, and you can find that mockup on Etsy, then buy that mockup yourself and use that on Etsy, if that's even possible within this niche, because everything's just so custom. So I'm not sure, but that kind of thinking has really helped me a lot, at least to reach the 7 figures within 3 years.
Yeah.
But
I saw a lot of white brick walls with the metal signs in front of it.
But definitely good job getting started. And the good thing is there's a bunch of stuff to improve, right? So there's hope that sales will start coming in once you do. So thanks for submitting that store as well.
That's cool. And they just started in December, I saw. So that's really cool.
It's great. Yeah.
And the next one we've got right here is Design District Limited. Very white. Got one sale.
Right. Just from the banner looking there, there's no personality there. You've got what would be a military style font for trendy and unique designs fighting with the playfulness of script of the design and district, the lowercase elements. And then you've got the 2 Ds there that almost looks like a Daredevil logo, but it's very proper or formal. So, and then you have just like a standard sans serif for high resolution. It's 4 completely different and unique fonts that are, and I know you're trying to probably, play on the unique element of your unique designs, but I feel like they conflict. They kind of fight with each other, and it doesn't, speak to any kind of voice or brand. We don't know what we're getting into here yet either, right? Other than the last 2 words are clip art and digital files, right? So you haven't really told anybody anything about your shop at this point. And this is like, will kind of, if people are looking at the shop level, come in here and see this and be like, I would bounce, right? Like, it's just not going to grasp my attention enough to want to like scroll down and see what's down there. I think it's a little overkill.
My perspective is a bit different from Jay's here, but mainly because like I don't even think you need a banner. I think the main focus, because I've always, at least in my experience, it's always been that someone searches for something on Etsy, and then they find something in search, and then they place the order. So if you can just focus everything on the listing level instead of then that'd be at least my recommendation, because that's where everything has happened, in my experience, at least on Etsy.
Yeah, totally different ways to win, and there's absolute, what Andreas is saying definitely works. And I come from a completely different camp where I'm all about the niche shop and the branding, so all of that does matter to me. In this case, you're not really speaking to either of those kind of camps, right?
Yeah. You can do either or, but you should focus on one of them for sure.
Yeah, and then start with the listing level and make sure those are tight. And then if you do end up wanting to go the more niche or branded vibe, then that'll at least give you, some kind of coherence or cohesion when it comes to building your brand or your banner after the fact. But definitely, I agree with Andreas in terms of starting at the listing level.
Yeah. So a good thing that I see scrolling through these is that there's consistency, right? We've always got kind of the same colors and the same layout, which is nice on the eye. But at the same time, there's also like all of these designs almost look exactly the same.
Too similar.
Way too similar. And I would argue too that I think, how many listings total?
96.
I think like 80% of them are. So 92 out of 96 are something that isn't probably going to sell, other than St. Patrick's Day. You've got 20, but no one's going to buy Halloween for another 8 months.
Yeah. So these are probably about to expire if they were posted before Halloween, I guess. Or you would have thought it already expired. But yeah, definitely the wrong focus at the moment. Let's look at one of these listings as well.
As far as not wanting, like, I prefer to stick to evergreen stuff, but if you're going to hammer down on trends, then you've got St. Patrick's Day. You could get some sales there, but like, where are people going to be putting this stuff, right? So try to be conscious. So like, if you're going to showcase it on a t-shirt, for example, know that Etsy buyers or Etsy sellers can't just download your artwork and put them on shirts, even though if you say they can, commercial rights, right? It violates Etsy's terms of service. So you can't have, you can't just download and upload. I would, use.
No, I just want to really push on what Jay's saying and just say that you really can't do that. We touched on that earlier in the call, but you literally can't buy something from Etsy and just put it up. So you really shouldn't do that, because that risks the whole shop. So just want to push on that and just say that you really shouldn't do that.
And then like, let people know where or how they would use this. Like, so it's a hat and buckle design. What would be a best case use for this particular design, right? Other than the showcase on the shirt, but like for the Happy St. Patrick's Day one, for example, like where would you put that? Where would you put this shamrock right now? People love to be told what to do. That's part of the psychology as well, right? So tell them how to use it. and I think that can go a long way too. But again, speaking to your Halloween ones, they really do look like more of the same ultimately.
Yeah, and one thing that Bailey taught me on one of these calls when it comes to like digital products on Etsy is that like she has her Q4 rush in like October or like September, October, because that's when the POD people are prepping for our Q4. So we have to be like really far out to an event to be able to capitalize on it if you're targeting the sellers of that specific holiday.
Absolutely. I would say, hit Mother's Day and Father's Day if you're going to stay with the seasonal trends now, like stay 4 or 5 months out as opposed to our traditional 60, 90. That's really good advice, Andreas.
One subtle thing as well, I noticed on both of these Etsy stores that we've had, both didn't run any sales. So especially the other one had very high prices. So there, I think it'd be helpful to run a sale. Or Carla suggested before as well to implement a loss leader. If you're trying to sell signs at like $90, that'll probably help you get a few more clicks if there's a loss leader that shows lower price or at least a sale.
For sure. And just to add onto the sales part, like if you actually aren't having sales, like Etsy usually like features their on sale items in a specific category on Etsy. Like this past Q4, it said like you can get like up to 40% off of different items, and you can click that. And if you don't have a sale on, you won't even come up in that specific category that's on the home page on Etsy. You don't even have a chance to do that because you don't have a sale running. Plus, if you filter, if someone uses the filter button on Etsy and they click that they want to see like listings that are on sale, and yours doesn't have a sale, you won't even show up for the keyword that you want to rank for. So using daily sales is something that's really important for sure.
I do the same, and I just want to point out too on that note that you can have a bulk discount in there, so like buy 2 and then get 20% off or whatever. If you have a sale to that effect or any kind, you can and will show up if somebody filters by on sale listing. So at least have something to that effect. But I agree with Andreas, like run daily sales, if not every day, at least 4 days out of 7, every other day, something to that effect, because Etsy will give you the timeline countdown, right? But make sure that they expire at the end of that day is what I would do. And I wouldn't have your listings showing like 999, because ultimately you want to see something like 20 people have this in the cart and there's only 9 left. Hurry, order now. Leverage all of Etsy's free marketing tips and tools they got whenever you can. It costs you absolutely zero. It's just up to how you structure your listing. There's ways to add
urgency as much as you can. Right.
I had a question. Can we look at the St. Patrick's Day ones? Just click on all 20 on the left.
Yeah.
I was wondering, what do you guys think? I don't sell on Etsy, but I was wondering, like, these are individual. Would you make a bundle where you kind of put like 20 of them together in a bundle and sell it as a one big thing?
Bailey is the pro when it comes to digital things, but she also mentioned this, like the everything bundle, like just bundling everything into one sells really well for her, I think. So that'd be a good suggestion.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, I would, try to emulate some of other people's digital download shops are out there. You'll see you can buy like even with the mock-ups that some of us, I will subscribe. Ultimately, it's like an ongoing lifetime subscription, right? You're buying that whole shop's mock-up bundle. And then every new or subsequent mockup they upload, I have access to that. It'll be a Dropbox link or a Google Drive link that, as they upload that, I'll get a notification. And then, there's something new in here. Or, get your customers used to you adding, if not even daily, then at least on a weekly basis too. And, I think that's just an easy win. Like package by section or shop section, like or theme or niche, but also absolutely the whole shop bundle just makes sense. Give people a really good deal, and then it's a perpetual way, a really good easy way to get initial sales too as a shop with none.
Yeah, I've sold digital files on Etsy as well. Nowhere near as much as Bailey, for example, but also from my experience, it's bundles do. I mean, individual files do sell as well, but because bundles have a higher price, like they definitely do a lot better, and they make up more of your income with like Etsy digital downloads if you've got them set up right. But yeah, that's the store reviews. I know there was a couple more submissions, but we want to close it off soon. So thanks to everyone who submitted a store. We'll do them again next time if you didn't get featured this time. And yeah, we'll just answer a couple more questions and then maybe do some personal questions at the end for all our guests, like we usually do.
Nice.
Prepared a couple of fun ones. So,
good.
First of all, I saw something about this right here. So, Jumpman TV Lyrics asks, do you have bestsellers which have a completely new style compared to the other designs in that niche? Good question, I think.
I do, absolutely. That's the best way to get a bestseller, is to be the first to implement either a new idea or a new aesthetic to an existing idea, right? You're not reinventing the wheel here, but that's the best way. Don't be throwing up more of what's already out there. You're starting from, way behind the pack at that point. You don't have the sales velocity, you don't have the social proof, you got no reviews. Why would anybody buy from you when there's like 100 more of the same ultimately?
Yeah, and like that's how I've made my bag too. Like taking something that works here, and making like taking inspiration from like listings that work in this niche, and then in another niche where there's no designs like this, I'll just put my own design into that. But because that's how you can actually gain rank and momentum. Because then you basically have the design that has that type of design that you made, and you have the one that ranks the highest with that type of design style.
Yeah, and Amazon is kind of unique in a way that it doesn't have, at least I don't have a store on Amazon that has all my designs, right? Like you would see like on Shopify or something. So there's no like real need to, at least for me, to brand things in a certain style. So I'm always testing out different styles on Amazon and trying out new things for different niches. And so that just works well.
You'll notice patterns as well if you look through niches regularly where there's like a new design style that pops up, which you haven't really seen before, sells really well, and then Valentine's Day comes around, and that same style is suddenly selling for Valentine's. St. Patrick's Day comes around, and that same style is now working for St. Patrick's Day on new listings that have been recently posted and weren't there before last year. So it's often like that, where these big broad niches can still be entered with new trends, new trending styles, or new approaches. And yeah, you don't always have to reinvent the wheel. You can get inspiration, but it's being the first to the niche with a unique offering. You can also use the same phrases with a new style, or you can use an existing style that works well with a new phrase, with a new different pun. It's just trying to offer something unique to the market that hasn't been done 1,000 times and been copied because it's been a bestseller for 3 or 4 years already. You can get sales that way, but it's very rarely going to turn into a bestseller if you have that approach of just copying what's there or recreating what's there one-to-one.
Yeah, you always got to add value, and you do that by just making designs that are based on research and just putting that your type of design style in niches that doesn't have that type of design style that you have recently made. That's how you actually add value to the niche.
What do you think about focus on evergreen 70% and 30% for events like 100 Days of Schools and Paddy's Earth Day?
Yeah.
I'll be right back. You guys answer this one.
So those, I'm a 98% evergreen, but what you're talking about there are not, those are seasonal as well, right? So they'll sell year round. So you could put some effort into that stuff. They will sell year round, and they'll sell every year. They'll peak around those particular times. So it's a great way to kind of, give you some little bit of peaks along the way, as instead of kind of flat lighting and then, hockey sticking up to Q4. But as far as like trends, what's hot in the media, those are quick wins, and those are things that I just don't kind of ever go after, because they will, you'll have that peak, but then they'll drop off and whatever. And I prefer to put my, all my time into evergreen. But when you're implementing things like St. Paddy's Day and stuff like that, for me, being niche based, I'll only add that stuff to my shop if it makes sense for the niche. If there's a way I can tie in both to kind of sub niche across niche that way with the event to get a little bit more of a spike that way. But yeah, as from a niche perspective, there's no reason for me to add St. Paddy's Day into a big dog tee unless I'm a way to tie it in, right? Like maybe a bulldog in a St. Paddy's Day outfit or leprechaun outfit, right?
Yeah, and like for me, when it comes to this stuff, I have a different way of thinking about this. I always want to target evergreen niches with peak sales times. And you can, by doing it this way, you can round out your shop a lot easier than by putting up like thousands of listings that I did when I started. Basically, what that means is that you can, like dad shirts, you can put up dad shirts, and they will sell really good for Father's Day, but they will also sell really good for Q4, but they will also sell year round. And same thing with like nurse shirts, they will sell all year round, but especially in Q4 and in May. And when it comes to like, instead of like thinking of like Valentine's Day, of like Valentine's Day shirts, why not think a bit higher up from that? Why not do like couples shirts? Because couples shirts can sell in Q4, like engagement types of gifts, like Mr. and Mrs. and so forth. They can sell really good in Q4. They can sell really good for Valentine's Day, but also year round. So that's how I like to think about it, because that gives you the biggest ROI for your time spent.
Yeah, if you can match up those holidays or those events with things that are already like you were saying, let's take nurses, but you make like I love nurses that could still sell in Valentine's, but it could sell anytime too. So yeah, I would think about trying to kind of match those.
The dad one's a great example with the Father's Day too, because it's, if it doesn't specifically say Father's Day on it, it's something, just I love my dad or best dad ever. That'll sell on a birthday. That'll sell year round. That'll sell on any particular occasion that makes sense, right? So smart.
Yeah, or even like dad established for like dad, like if they have a kid, like those sell year round too, and it makes it a lot easier to like get consistent sales and not just sales for a specific event.
And there's like a million ways to target dads, right? Or men in general. It could be shirts aimed at men who like fishing, shirts aimed at men who are a mechanic. This like, it's not just about best dad. And I definitely agree with that. This is a good example because for me, June tends to be one of the best months of the year. Like usually I think June is in the top 3 for me. And that's just down to the fact that I have a ton of designs that are aimed at dads or men. And yeah, they sell throughout the year, but definitely sell the most in June and like November, December.
Yeah, I think Father's Day is like a very close second to Christmas for me for a Q4, specifically for a singular event, right? It's huge.
Yeah, for me, it's always like Q4, big drop, bump in the middle of the year for Father's Day and stuff, and then it drops off a bit until Q4 again.
Nice.
Always the same. I should probably do more like Valentine's Day and stuff in between. Oh, there's the Great Dane. Jesus.
Yes.
Is that actually how tall he is, or is he stood on your desk?
He's really big. My God.
He's standing on our day bed here. I can kind of turn it a little bit and you can see. Oh, sorry. Scared him with the lamp. Oh. You're okay, buddy.
Can't see the bed, but we'll just imagine that he's like 6 foot tall.
He's like a horse. Oh, there he stepped down, but he's still big.
Yeah, there he is. There. He's a bit of a beast. Taka, come here. Taka, come say hi.
No.
So his head is like standing up while I'm sitting. He's at the shoulder for sure. Yeah.
Wow.
By the way, now that it's in the shot, you have to show that pillow.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I watched that pillow the whole live stream. I'll be like, okay, that's a head. That's your head on a pillow.
That's so cool. We all should get one and just put it up.
That's so awesome.
This was a gift from Florence in the Rockstar POD group after having visited Latvia for their first ever Amplified Summit 2 Septembers ago now. I got home and this came in the mail shortly thereafter. So it's one of the Kiss Cut pillows.
Yeah.
And it's super huge and this guy loves it.
And you're wearing the same hat too. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, he buys
they took
it.
this for the print quality. They took it from my Facebook profile picture. So it's surprising how good it actually turned out.
Oh,
You
nice.
should make a video. Just hold the pillow up and just talk behind the pillow and see if anyone
I actually have 2 and I did do a review on them, but I shouldn't do that. Right?
Yeah.
You're okay. Yes, you're a good boy. I know.
Oh, Carla's taking off. Literally. Good
Nice.
flight, Carla, if you still read this. Or hear this.
Safe travels, Carla. Have fun.
That's awesome.
glad your flight is back on. She was going family adventure, and then it got kiboshed due to weather early in the wee hours. But now it looks like you're good to go. So congrats.
She in your group?
She is, yes. She missed yesterday, but she is also one of the admins there.
Okay.
She's a wealth of information and high octane, high value, like Sheila was.
Nice.
Oh, it's a shame she wasn't there yesterday. Could have met her finally. She's always very active in the chat here. But that actually brings me to one of the personal questions I had for you all, which is any travel plans this year? Anything booked yet, or anything you want to book for sure? Let's hear it. Oh, bye.
Oh, we lost him.
So for me, I'm thinking about either going to, I think it was Vegas, to the YouTuber thing that you guys mentioned.
Ooh. If you go, let me know. I can just drive down in one day. So.
Oh damn! Yeah. So either that, or it's going to Japan again with my girlfriend.
Ooh, Japan's nice.
Nice.
You like Japan?
Yeah, I love it there.
I love that you said again. I've never been. We're kind of, landlocked, as you can tell, with a dog to that magnitude. So being in Belize now, we're thinking of going in the next few months to Mexico for maybe a year or two.
A year? Whoa.
Yeah, well, we've been in Belize just over 14 months now. So by the time we're coming up on the year and a half, I think we'll try to, bounce around where we can by vehicle, like by land. Everything's, he's just too big to fly. It just doesn't make sense. You're looking at private jets and charters, and it's crazy. But until we no longer have them, which would be potentially another 5 years or so. But the nice thing is that there's a lot around here that you can visit and experience too. But I would love to go visit Japan one day, but also
me too.
Thailand, Cambodia, Indonesia, that whole area.
POD tour. Let's do it.
Let's all travel to Japan. But yeah, that Vegas thing, if it's going to happen, I think I spoke to Cassie about this recently, and there's no confirmed date yet. But if there's another convention like that, it'd be cool to all meet up there for sure. And I'm actually going to Sweden to Andreas's home. Well, not exactly to his home, but to his home country.
That'd be creepy, but
yeah, that'll be next Christmas. I'll spend there.
Awesome.
And I'm going to Oslo next month. So a lot of Scandinavia so far for me plan this year.
Nice. And when you're here, you gotta make sure to come to Stockholm so we can meet up. It would be really fun to actually meet up in person.
Yeah, because we're going to stay closer to. I forgot the name. What's the other city? Gothenburg. Yeah. So hopefully we'll get over there. And then you can be a tour guide, and we can hang out.
Yeah, for sure. At least it's the Stockholm tour guide for sure.
Yeah.
It would be awesome to meet up, just to have a hangout, though, not necessarily talk shop. But I mean, we'll obviously talk shop, but
eat some good food.
Yeah.
Actually, do something that's unrelated to YouTube or POD, like normal
Correct.
people. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, that'd be awesome if we could arrange it all. I mean, that's kind of what I did with Adam last year, and I visited Florida, and that was super fun. So if we could somehow arrange it, I mean, we all don't live that close to each other, which doesn't help. But an event like that Vegas thing helps, because then you can, right after the talks, you can just hang out in the evening.
And the best thing, at least for me, selfishly thinking about me here, but it would be that I've only been to the US once, and only to LA for 3 weeks. So I'd love to go to Vegas just to see how it actually is, because I love a lot of the American culture. So
you get a lot there. I've been there multiple times, and it's a lot to see. So I would say spend some time there. There's just hotels and buffets and so much to do. There's Vegas. Lots of other interesting things in Vegas as well.
Vegas was actually my first experience in America, was going to Vegas.
It's a lot.
1.5 weeks.
It's a lot of lights and a lot of everything's on. It's like the city never sleeps over there. So
sure. What about you, Juna? Do you have any plans?
I would love to go to Universal Studios in Florida is opening up a new one, site. They're called Epic. It's going to be in May, so I want to give it a few months to get out the kinks, but I'd love to see their new.
What's that, Fortnite? Or?
What is that?
Fortnite. Epic just reminds me of Fortnite.
Yeah. No, so it's so there's the Universal Studios side. There's an Island Adventure side. They're creating a whole new one outside of those, and it has the Mario, new Harry Potter stuff, it's a whole new area with all these different things. You got to check it out. It's called Epic. I forget what it's, Epic Adventure or Epic something. I forget.
Have you done all the other ones?
I've done the other two. Yeah. They're really cool too. You can get on a train in Universal Studios, the Hogwarts train, and travel between the Universal Studios and the Island of Adventure, which was really fun. We did that last year, and just so many roller coasters, and like it's a fun time. You need at least 3 days. Yeah.
Are you a big Harry Potter fan, or?
I like Harry Potter. I mean, I don't have the cosplay or anything like that, or a wand or anything. But
no, you don't have a Harry Potter outfit. Like, come on.
I would be Gryffindor, though. I probably would be Gryffindor.
What's the spell for the rubber band ball?
But yeah. On that note, if that's another thing, like if everyone likes Harry Potter, we can all meet in London, hang out there,
Yes.
and we could go to the original sets and everything, like the studios. That's all in London, or a lot of it is filmed in London.
Dress up in our robes and stuff.
Yeah.
My girlfriend loves Harry Potter so much, and her little brother loves it so much too. They've even like scheduled that they are going to that is it like a Harry Potter world or in London?
In London, it's this called Warner Bros. Studios, I think. It's more of the sets and the outfits and.
They get the wands because in Universal you can buy these wands, and then there's special places in the park where you can do these spells and something happens on the.
Okay. She mentioned that one of the things that she's most excited about that whole place is that you can use the hat. Like they can place the hat on you and tell you where you're gonna belong, right?
That's cool.
I think I remember something like that. Yeah.
Wow.
That's also 2 years back, but yeah, super fun if you know if you like the films, you know them.
Oh, there it is. Epic Universe. Somebody commented.
Epic Universe. Okay.
Nice. Let us know in the chat as well where you're traveling to this year if you have anything planned. And the next question. For the next question, I'll do like a poll. Poll. I never know how to pronounce it in the actual chat, so everyone else can vote as well. So the next one is a lot more basic. It's what is it?
Coke or Pepsi?
Me too. Pepsi.
I drink more Coke than Pepsi. I wouldn't mind either, but I drink more Coke than Pepsi.
I don't drink pop or anything like that at all. But when I did, it's been like 15, 20 since I left the corporate 9 to 5. I stopped with all of that 15 years ago now almost. But it was Coke. It was absolutely Coke with nothing beats, with a slice of pizza, a really good deep dish gooey dough pizza with a Coke can in there. I don't know. Yeah.
What's really popular here in Utah is we got the liter Cokes from Mexico, like the glass liter ones. Like they use the real sugar and not the high fructose corn syrup, and it's really good. So
yeah, we have that in Belize too now. It's they don't have like Coca-Cola, they don't have Pepsi, but you can get Coca-Cola product. But it's all from Mexico, and it's real like cane sugar. It's different.
I've seen videos on people doing that, like doing the real Coke stuff. Like it's I think it's from I only saw videos from people doing that in New York, from like a bar in New York. But it looks really cool. I've only drank the regular like bottled ones.
Yeah, now it's water and coffee for me. And then sometimes there's these little fruit stands on the corner where you can get freshly made, like a watermelon juice is literally blended watermelon.
So I got in here, watermelon.
Cantaloupe juice, it's literally blended cantaloupe. It's all fresh and stuff. So
you've shown that before, June, haven't you? I think about watermelon juice. You drink it a lot.
Yeah, sometimes. Watermelon. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people saying they don't drink either. I used to drink Pepsi all the time. I don't really drink it anymore.
Yeah, I don't drink soda daily, but when I do, Coke.
It's just on a social occasion I'll drink it.
Yeah, I barely drink it either. I mainly drink water or like tea.
Yeah, this is always filled with water. He says, really, it's just alcohol. Yeah. But no, what are people voting? Let's see. Most people are saying Coke.
Yeah, a lot of people saying neither.
Yeah, and in the chat, a lot of people say neither, which is good. That's a good thing.
Yeah, good for you
really is better not to drink them. but I'm guessing most people have tried them, so I have a preference. And in the UK, actually, I'm curious if you have this too. In the UK, we have Pepsi Max Cherry. It's called. It's like the no sugar option with cherry, and that's always been my favorite out of the flavors. You probably have way more flavors than we do.
They have Coke Zero here with no sugar, and Diet. There's Diet Coke and there's Coke Zero, which are slightly different. But they both have no sugar.
Different flavors, like fruit flavors added to it, or
they do have fruit flavors. I don't know if they have fruit. I don't drink Coke that much, so I don't know if there's fruit flavors for Coke Zero. But I know there's for regular Coke. There's definitely flavors. Yeah.
Maybe we could do a food question as well. Like, what's some really popular foods like pizza? Is there another one that people could decide between?
Burgers, tacos. I don't know.
Burgers or pizza?
I'm not gonna lie. Moving to Mexico soon makes my mouth water for tacos, like proper tacos, Mexican pibil, and all the real
street tacos.
Yeah, that's the stuff right there, man. It's all whole ingredients. There's no chemicals. It's literally like from the farm to the pot to the butcher. It's not as unhealthy as it is. In North America anyway.
I've put a new poll in the chat. Favorite fast food: tacos, pizza, burgers, fish and chips.
Nice. You're gonna have to show us.
British option in there.
I've always loved fish and chips, but I can't handle. I'm not used to the oil anymore.
The oil, that's what gets
they're
me
usually
too.
like I don't really like it. So fish is here. I don't know what it's like for you guys, but here they usually put the fish on the chips, and then the chips just go soggy, and then I don't know. I don't really like it.
There's a good fish and chips. There's a Gordon Ramsay fish and chips in Vegas. So if we go to Vegas, we'll have to go and try it. It's really good.
Yeah, if it's not oily, let's go.
Yeah, it's not too oily. Gordon Ramsay has a bunch of restaurants over there in Vegas. There's like 4 or 5 restaurants over there. Pizza, yes.
Pizza is great too. Yeah, there's so many options, right? For me, I would say pizza and tacos if I had to pick those two. But I mean,
pizza taco. If you fold it, it's like
a good pizza though is so good. My God.
So I'm saying Vimto.
Vimto.
Yeah, what's
I don't know what Vimto is.
Comedy fan, you gotta let us know.
I'm a pretty big foodie. I eat almost anything. So
one Mexican food that I've always loved is quesadillas. Yeah, those are so good if they're done properly. So
they do a pretty good quesadilla down here in Belize too. But one that just made me think of things that are native to the area is tamales. Belizean tamales are amazing.
What makes it different?
I don't know. I've never had a Mexican one, but I know they're different. Everybody says they're not. The Mexican are a little bit different or significantly different, but it's like it's wrapped in the corn leaf and it's baked. It's like this, like almost like a dumpling around chicken or whatever you would have, fish or chicken. From what I'm reading, it doesn't seem like it's very different to the Mexican ones, but I guess just the flavors or the spice they use.
Maybe the spices and the use.
A good tamale is a game changer, having not had one until a year ago.
Yeah, they make some good ones up here in Utah too.
Nice.
All right, burgers is winning. On the no one's voted tacos.
What?
That's one of my highest selling niches of all time too. There is demand in the United States for tacos. I'll tell you that.
Can't believe fish and chips is winning over tacos.
Oh wow, you got an audience. It's your audience, Philip. That's
it's got to be
more people need to vote. I think there's not a lot of votes. There's only 12. I'm guessing that probably people who are watching from like Juna's channel can vote, for example.
Because we would have voted tacos. No.
Yeah. Well, what's like the go-to in Sweden? What?
The go-to food?
Like fast food, street food thing that people get. Because I think I remember in Oslo it's tacos, right?
Yeah, like you can get tacos, but there's mainly like one chain that I know of at least that do it. So mainly like fast food here is mainly like pizza or burgers usually.
All right. Same as you.
Yeah.
There we go. Got a few shouts for tacos there. All right.
All right.
There it is. Woo-hoo.
That's all we've got for today. That was really fun chat and
Thanks,
very
everybody.
active chat. Like lots of people commenting, asking questions today, which is cool. Vikings food. What? I guess it's for
I'll
Sweden.
eat Viking food. Sounds
That
good.
I will say, hi Daniel, another awesome member of my membership. But I'll say that is one of the best things about the whole travel idea. Throwing back to that, right, is like the people, like experiencing different cultures. I think is a must because it breaks down all the perceived barriers that we have, the way we're conditioned, the way we're brought up, about how how different cultures are. And then the food. So it's the people and the food, and I think those are the two of the most beautiful things on the planet, to be able to sample from different people, right?
Agreed.
Yeah.
I do know squash, by the way, Mr. Comment. I know Vimto. I mean,
Blackcurrant squash. Interesting.
Blackcurrant squash. That's
I think Vimto's all right. I've not had it for so long. Right. Thanks everyone for joining. Thanks to you guys for coming on and being regulars on the show.
Of course.
And we'll be back in 2 to 3 weeks. Really fun conversation, and all the best to everyone watching. I'm sure sales are going to start picking up again.
Don't worry about January.
No. Yeah. Plan for the rest of the year. Plan for Q4 now, right? And work backwards.
I agree.
All right. Thanks. Thanks everyone for watching, and we'll see you later. Bye.
See you guys.
Thanks, guys. See ya.
And ending stream.